This is the Baseball Fury Podcast, hosted by Jimmy Flame.
You're tuned to the Big Game James Show on iHeartRadio. And now your host, Mr. Big Game James, Jimmy Flame.
What's up, everybody? This is your host, Jimmy Flame. For the Big Game James Show, the Baseball Fury. There's a lot going on in the world of baseball, and we're going to talk about all of it. Coming right up. Stay tuned. Congratulations. Definitely due to one of my favorite pitchers of all time that I get a lot of flack for by people who really don't matter. Bartolo Colon. Yes, I've been talking about this guy for a long time, as you know, have many others. But he just recently collected his 246th win, which is the most by a Latin-born pitcher. But more importantly, that's a lot of wins. 246. There's already there's been talk for a few years now over his resume. Some arguments regarding his resume, about whether he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think this kind of obviously plants a flag in the ground, and he should be a future right there. That's for sure. But today we're talking about the playoff race. I think it's late enough in the season where we can start getting serious about this thing, start talking about, who's getting in, who's definitely getting in. Unfortunately, for Bartolo Colon, he's probably not getting in, but he's been there. And, the season's definitely taking shape. The teams are pretty much sitting where they're going to be sitting, notwithstanding some amazing comebacks that have happened in the past. But real quick, we got Boston in the American League East. They're 9 games ahead of the Yankees as of right now, and they're probably going to stay that way. They've won 9 of their last 10. That's crazy. They're on a 5-game win streak. Cleveland's the same thing in the Central. They're 9 games ahead of Minnesota. Those two teams are probably good where they're at, and out west, it's still pretty tight. Even though Seattle trails Houston by 7.5, Oakland trails by 5.5. I'm still calling this a 3-way race just because of the history of the American League West. Oakland seems to be one of those teams that kind of hangs in there, but then they come on strong at the end. And Seattle is not a team to be written off. They're young, they're hungry, and they've persevered despite suspensions for performance-enhancing drugs, those evil PEDs. But they've persevered, and they're still in it, despite being 7.5 back. I know a lot of people are saying Houston can't be caught. But, despite winning the World Series last year, in any other division that might be true. But Oakland and Seattle, especially Oakland, both are teams that can easily get it done. They're streaky teams, especially Oakland. They're teams that have, they're not on the rise right now. Seattle is 4-6 in their last 10, losing their last game. Oakland 6-4 in their last 10, but it's right on pace with Houston, who's also 6-4 in their last 10, and they're only on a little 2-game win streak. They haven't strung together one of those giant win streaks recently. Over in the National League, the East is still very much up for grabs between 3 teams: Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Washington. Washington splitting a doubleheader with Atlanta. It was yesterday. So if you're listening to this in the future, this is all going to change. The upswing is Washington is a veteran team. They've been there, done that before. They know what they need to do to get it done. Atlanta and Philadelphia are relatively young by any measure in the entire in Major League Baseball's entirety. So we'll see. I mean, can they hang on? Atlanta's 7-3 in their last 10. Philadelphia and Washington 6-4. We'll see. Can they hang on? If they do, they're in. If not, then sorry, Washington. Hate to say it, but one of my local teams still standing. The Baltimore Orioles, of course, putting up unprecedented numbers in that franchise's history. 34-79. Come on. I still love them. But the National League East still very much a race with three teams, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Washington. Over in the Central, that one's still... That's hilarious. I'm going to have to call him back here in a minute. One of my eager listeners. If you're on the chat, go ahead and say something. I'm lively today. And out west, we got the Dodgers, the Rockies, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks, all very much in it. And that's that. So there you go. I mean, all of these teams very much alive. Wild card leaders, Boston, Cleveland, Houston, with New York and Oakland sitting right there in the wild card spots. Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Los Angeles Angels. Minnesota's way on the outside, but you know they might just be too far behind at 13. But it's a 5-team race right now in the National League, or in the American League rather. Over in the National League, the aforementioned Washington, they've got a little bit. They're less games behind in the wild card, but they have far more teams to pass. They got 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 5 teams behind a wild card spot, so their best bet is going to be to go for the National League East title, the pennant over there. And again, Philadelphia, the Cubs, the Dodgers, leading the pack, and the wild card spots belong to Milwaukee and Atlanta, with the Diamondbacks and Colorado hot on the heels. And I'm going to go ahead and, notwithstanding the Nationals making a run for it because of their veteran status, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to say Atlanta actually figures out a way to get ahead of Philly, even though I picked Philly to go deep in the playoffs, some months ago. I'm going to pick Atlanta to finish with the wild card. Philadelphia is going to be a game behind them, and Washington's going to surge and take the NL East to get that spot. So there you have it. I know it's a quick episode today. It's only, 8 minutes long, but I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to document it, at least for myself to go back and look. I don't expect a ton of listeners today for such a short episode, but hey, if you happen to be one of those listeners, please head over to Facebook, JimmyFlame77, Twitter, JimmyFlame77. Let's get a conversation started on this. You can even chat right here, or you can go over to the Spreaker app. It's Spreaker/ThinkSlinger. Look up the episode. Get a chat started over there. What do you think about the whole playoff picture so far? I'm going to go more in depth in the next few days. But again, this is Jimmy Flame for the Big Game James Show. The Baseball Fury thanking you once again. Oops, that's the wrong song. Ha! We're going to go with this one. Thanking you once again for tuning in and giving me the chance to wow you with my early playoff predictions. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys in a few days. All right!